So she be hitting me like that.
Yeah, class.
Hey.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you're watching this from. Welcome to the inaugural Four Nations Ultimate Tournament, and you're watching Scotland versus Wales for the Scotland versus England for the first time ever. 150 years ago, Scotland played England in a football match about a kilometre away from here, and now we're reigniting the rivalry in a totally different sport, but in the same area of Glasgow. So thank you for joining us. My name is Finlay Watson. I'm here with...
I'm John Tavalis, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this game. What about yourself, Finlay?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I think this is the matchup that everyone's really looking forward to. Obviously, it's the old rivalry, and yeah, I'm just excited for some big shots, some athletic plays, and just to see the crowd really get into it. I was watching the last game, and it was so awesome to see Frisbee with a proper crowd and seeing everyone get involved and seeing how invested a lot of the players are in this. So I think it'll be a wonderful matchup. Here's the pull from Gordon going up.
England starting just there on the sideline. To Mickael with a flying Terry coming across. Mickael looks inside for an IO. It's a big break there. Shot goes up. And it's a great block there by Terry.
Yeah, an excellent defender in his own right. Joel Terry has played for multiple different clubs. Alba now playing his mixed Frisbee with GUX this season.
Terry hucks it big. Looks for the Tate. And he grabs it.
And that is just textbook Frisbee. I think if anyone has played Scottish Ultimate or been around the Scottish Ultimate scene, they know that if Ian Tate's in your team, that is tactic number one. Look for him deep and just know that he has got the skills and the ability to be able to reel in anything you throw up to him.
100%. Arguably one of the best receivers in Europe there, playing for Mighty Hawks in England, GB indoors rather. And yeah, definitely a very easy option there for Terry to pick him up and give Scotland their first break of the game.
I'm sure we had to mark him a few times at indoors, and it's just impossible. You know, you're all to plums.
1-1 against his matchup against Jakob Tam there, if you haven't heard, playing against Estonia and Tartu Turbulence. Extremely
underrated deep put here because it's straight up into the wind as well. And Joel Terry with just putting so much spin on that disc, able to float it out for Ian Tate. Obviously he has that trust, but that could have been to anyone that throw and would have been reeled in for a goal. Big emotions there, and Karamaki with the pull.
Awesome. Could you leave it next to the
Sloan.
there for me? Thank you.
That's just a little bit too low there, the wind pushing it down, and Scotland might just be able to take this. It's around to Henry, but just a little bit too much floating up. Bates there with the almost saving grab there. It was a great effort from there, and maybe even a little bit of a gift for England.
Yeah, I'd argue a big opportunity missed there for Scotland. Short field, break opportunity. Let's see if England can do right by it.
Lewis takes the big.
Huge shot.
There's two England players there, and it's just bobbling over the top there. So unlucky.
Again, another great throw into the wind. We were chatting earlier about the wind, and we were saying it's not necessarily the throwing that's the problem, it's more so the catching. The throws are getting out there, they're getting to the receiver, but by the time they get there, you never know if it's going to bobble, take a little gust of wind and move, and that's exactly what happened there. Again, you can see great power in the throw, great turn, and it looked like for all intents and purposes it's going to be a straightforward goal, and then it just pops off at the last second there. but good coverage from the Scotland defenders as well.
Yeah, even Sloan there backing up the catch there, but still unlucky for the two England receivers. Henry looked for Mackie, looked off.
Scotland struggling a bit to get it off the sideline, but they've done it.
Kelly. Another big shot goes up. In for Atkins, just trailing away there. Again, another very unlucky shot there, and again, the gifts are flying left and right here for both teams there.
Yeah, Scotland are really trying their best to try punch these in quite quickly. I know it's windy, but if they could just take a second, take their time, they know they've got the skills, they've got the firepower to be able to work that disc up. They don't necessarily need a big shot straight away.
As Naden looks for Lewis.
Oh, huge bid.
Absolutely colossal bid there by Lewis.
Ooh. That's an excellent put all the way over the stack, floated out by number 12 from England. And Mackie had a chance at it, but just couldn't quite get there. And it's 1-1, leveled up. Although Scotland did have a good few opportunities there to have a break, just couldn't quite punch it in. But England worked it up extremely patiently up into the wind and did very well punching that one in. You really wonder how many more chances Scotland are going to get to break. I wouldn't want to be Scotland and giving away these break opportunities, like having short fields and then just not quite getting there. You'd normally take Boxall with that around throw. I've been seeing him do that for years. And again, Boxall trying to get a deep put there to Aiken, but couldn't quite get there. Huge bid from Lewis here to keep the play alive as well. Just wonderful to see. And then this throw.
Yeah, very well weighted there, just dropping into the path. I think they're very different styles of offense compared to the last game. It is blistery out there, it's windy, it's swirly, and I guess that's the kind of things we're expecting to see. McNeil makes its way to Tate, takes the big. Oof. Just grab there.
Self-Mac, would you call that?
Maybe it was as one fizzes into Hardman Carter and just unfortunately lost on there.
England with a big opportunity to break here.
Link to Mickael.
And England have just punched that in. Great break opportunity there. England doing what Scotland couldn't in the previous point, and that was take their time, not take anything silly to punch it in and just put it in nice and calmly. Good cutting from Mickael and excellent end zone play there from England just to calmly put it in on the high wind sideline.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a really great positioning there by Quinn just to get the small little pop on the inside. Mickael dishing the assist, and it seems like we may have a little bit of a game on our hand, Finley.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunate there from Hardman Carter on the disc here. Just hit her right in the chest. You don't know if there's a bobble in the wind, and it just unfortunately evaded her grasp. But not often something you see from her. Usually a very reliable cutter and handler as well. But Scotland have got to get their act together. This could get away from them. You know, Frisbee's a game of runs, and you don't want to give this England team a couple of chances because they are full of star-studded talent, and they could run away with it if they can.
GB star Rachel Naden with the pull as it goes up.
Fizzed in there.
It's a very athletic grab there by Kelly, but maybe cooled down there by Robbie Haynes.
We'll get a little replay here, see if we can help in any way. That's looking very much down to us.
Unfortunately, yeah, that is down. Again, this wind just pushing it down, making these throws a lot harder than they need to be, and that's an opportunity for England to extend their lead.
You wonder if Boxall not having a team this year, you know, far be it from me to criticise, he might be a little bit out of practice, but I'm sure given this tournament was coming up, he would have been practicing his throws. Normally, the most reliable handler that I've seen in my time playing Frisbee. That's a huge opportunity for England, and it's just turned.
Yeah, just through the legs there of Hawkyard as Boxall picks it up and hucks it. Looks for Kelly in the deep space and
still there.
So they both misread that one, unfortunately, as Haynes picked it up. Back to Lewis. Looks for the IO shot there, doesn't take it. Back to Haynes.
Oh, big bit there from Hendry, and it's gone sky high.
Snaden putting it up and Hiley coming down with it, but it's still almost bobbling there. Gibson or the Gibson sisters just not being able to get that.
Now, given the short format of this game, I would argue, I wouldn't say this has to go in for Scotland. You know, I know they're capable of runs, but it's definitely an important point to put in. You don't want to give this England team any sort of semblance of hope.
Acres of space there for Henry.
Just an off throw there.
And the bidding baits there almost rescuing as England pick it up again. Sloan, still count rising, gets it to Lewis. On the sideline there, swings it inward.
Excellent grab.
Back to Sloan. England now just pushing on the doorstep.
Really using the width of the pitch as well.
That's Gibson taking the IO shot there. It's a great shot there.
Yeah, it's another shot put in, and like we said, England with the capability to run away with this. Scotland need to get their act together.
See a lot of the passion coming out of England now. I think they're a little bit more flat on their first game there. I think the energy has well, they're definitely ramping it up.
Yeah, I mean, Wales with an excellent draw against England. I think, I don't know, personally, a lot of people would have written Wales off before this tournament and said, you know, they're the smallest of the four nations, and are they going to be able to put up a fight? But a good draw against England to start will definitely help them to, you know, fight throughout the rest of this tournament and be really encouraged from that. But I think England maybe knew that wasn't their best performance beforehand and are looking to rectify that with, you know, 2 breaks and an easy hold to start. And here's the deep shot coming. That was well read by the Scottish player, number 47. And again, you can see that even though you're getting these Ds and people are making defensive plays, they're always popping up. So you've got to be really, really careful of those second chances, especially if you're the defender, you know. There'll be chance of catch your Ds from the sideline, I'm sure, from the Scottish faithful and the English faithful on the sidelines.
Shame the faithful haven't got any pyrotechnics going on. I think might be a sea of blue smoke if that was the case. Lim to pick up.
Scotland have to work really hard for every pass here. England really putting on the defensive pressure.
That's Terry being marked by Mickael. Very emphatic fakes there. Looks inside, but just bobbled a little bit too high there.
I think Terry just hesitated first on that throw and then didn't quite come off.
Plant Hateley looks inside to break. Can't get around the 6'7" Ian Tate there, but just manages it in the end.
A monster to try to get around. England losing yards here, but quite comfortable too as Mickael throws it deep.
Wow. That's Ian Tate there, as we just mentioned. Very hard person to go up against as Plant Hateley goes up, but comes down second place there.
Yeah, an extremely hard person to beat in the air. Mickael trusting his receiver, but maybe should have taken a little second there. Also the throw just, you know, a little bit off center. Probably wanted to put it a little bit more out right into the space, but couldn't quite get there. As Terry picks up the disc.
Mickael kicks away the cone. Things we don't like to see. Takes the IO shot there. Oof. Probably just not enough touch there.
That's a huge layout block there from Terry.
Looks to hug it immediately. And a little bit too far there for Ian Tate again. This point coming a little bit gritty.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of you make a big play and then try to do another big play straight afterwards. I think more often than not you see people make big blocks, make big layout Ds, make big grabs, and then the next pass or the next shot is not quite the one that you're wanting, as we see Terry here. Huge bid, making sure to keep his body out of the way. Then unfortunately just tries to do a little bit too much. Scotland really struggling a little bit here as there's a short field turn and Terry picks it up quick.
Not expecting that from Thompson at all. Hardman Carter just on the doorstep, flicks it forward to Ian Tate, and it's a great grab.
That's massive for Scotland, getting another point up win, and you can see the emotion on Ian Tate's face as he does his best Steph Curry impression to spike that disc. But a very, very big point for Scotland there. Very well worked. Good defensive pressure. A little bit of an execution error from England to giving Scotland a short field. But Scotland were quick to it and managed to punch it in. And a great assist from Hardman Carter as well. And great catch from Ian Tate. Great patience there. You see Gordon looking off the initial receiver and Terry looking for her other player in Hardman Carter and taking their time. That's what we want to see more from Scotland here. We don't want to rush things. We don't want to... I say we. I'm impartial here, of course.
So am I, mate.
But, you know, we want to see Scotland take their time. They've got the quality. They've got the skill to work the disc up as best they can.
That's Kelly with the pull.
Stirling University alumni. Always have to shout them out. There's a couple of people. And Ronan Kelly, one of the best to come out of the Stirling programme.
Not including yourself, of course.
Of course, not including myself.
That's Haynes. Takes a big flick. Loose for Lewis. Boxall just being able to squeeze in there. That floating straight up there.
Yeah, excellent read though from Boxall. Initially I had no idea where he was going because the Frisbee was out of our camera shot. But an excellent read, and he goes to pick up the disc, and hopefully we can get a nice cam downwind offensive point here from Scotland.
Unfortunately, I think you spoke a little bit too quickly. I think the wind's just changed and we're now going upwind. That's Mackie. Just bobbling there to Atkins. Takes the IO to Kelly, dishing it to Hiley.
This is liquid from Scotland.
Pushing to the red zone now as Boxall passes it back to Hiley, back to Boxall. Takes a very easy shot there, but Atkins there, struggling to get there. Oh! Maybe a little bit too rushed there as...
Yeah, again, they had the time. They were on the red zone. The receiver was wide open. Maybe Boxall just saw the headlines, wanted to throw it in super quick, but didn't quite need that. But then again, that's a throw that he makes 10 times out of 10. It's just that more difficult with the wind.
As Gibson picks up for England. Goes for the around to Lewis. Toes his feet in very well there. Takes the IO shot forward.
Andy Lewis has been a hero on this sideline this game so far.
You just see there the amount of interceptions coming from Scotland. So many more Ds versus the counterparts. Happy to take the negative yards there.
Good to see Scotland taking their time. I'm just wondering if it will be helpful for them as they turf the disc there. It's not what we like to see.
Maybe a bit too much time there, I think. Maybe a bit too lazy on that throw. England take it back. Sloan goes for the around. Just floats up perfectly there.
Shot.
Yeah. Just sitting there in the wind.
Yeah, a high release break throw with swirling wind is so difficult to throw. But they made it look extremely easy there. As we see Andy Lewis with another heroic play to keep that open, to keep that disc alive. Andy Lewis being a big player in this game, playing with Reading Ultimate, captaining them, playing for GB. As we see this deep shot go. That was well defended by Boxall. He managed to read it, just caught in the wind, swatted it away, and Boxall here just a little bit too casual, released it just slightly too high, and you can see that paint him there. Huge grab here from Lewis. Toes his feet in wonderfully. And then that high release shot.
Right, you could just see the wind just kicking it up there, just giving him all the time in the world. He could have walked it if he wanted to. Fantastic there. As Mickael goes for the rolly pull there. Just trailing off on the sideline. England trying to pin them onto the near sideline as Lim walks it forward. Thompson on the force. Great bodying there on the English defence as Terry picks it up.
And
hucks it big.
Oh, and you really feel like number 88, Agnew, would have had a bid on that. But I don't think he was expecting it to sit that long.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there. I think it kind of sat just perfectly in between Hardman, Carter, and himself, where unfortunately I think neither of them knew which way it was going and just sailed between them. See the wind just picking up there. Thompson on the disc.
Short field turn again from England here. Mickael thinking about calling a foul, but realising it was probably already gone as Terry goes to pick up the disc.
Back to Lim in the centre. And
oh, bobbled around and caught by Lim. Excellent stuff. And bobbled around again by Gordon.
that's another bubble as well. This game turning very, very sloppy. Lim's just on the doorstep. Looks for Terry. Great boxing there from
Lim
Mickael.
just ran out of options. England really did a good job of clogging up the open space in the end zone, and Scotland unable to take a shot to open up the pitch. You know, often you'd think you'd teach the players to spread it wide there, but they could not. And another short field turn from England as Agnew goes to pick up the disc.
That's a really unlucky there from Planhately. And a nice little dish in there to Agnew there.
Two dishes from Agnew as he does a strange celebration. You know, I feel like that could be better coordinated with the Scotland team, but they're probably not thinking too much about their celebrations being 4-3 down currently. A bit poor from England there, you'd have to say. However, Scotland did an excellent job to find space in a phone box there from Agnew and Teddy. You know, two short dishes to be able to get the score is all you need. Doesn't matter how they go in. And honestly, when it's this windy, you're probably looking for short passes like that. As we can see, Mickael just not quite grabbing it there. And this is the most interesting point here. Bobbled once, bobbled twice, and then caught eventually by Lim.
And if you needed more bubbles, here they come.
More bubbles and a soft play in here.
It's terrible. That's Hiley from Heck with the pull. He's kind of dribbling to the half pitch there.
Heck coming off an excellent result at EUCR in Stirling, which was an excellent win. Another drop there from England. Scotland with an opportunity to level up here.
Takes the free Henry. To Atkins there. To Mackie. A little bit of a messy structure here by Scotland as they try and figure out some way to punch it in.
Options running out here. They're looking for the reset. Boxall's got it.
Not much movement there from the Scotland side as the IO goes to Atkins. Emphatic fake there. Nice little spin move there. Oh, so close there on the bid.
Huge bid, but Scotland running out of options there. Again, just failing to execute in the red zone as England put a massive shot up deep. And not quite there.
You can see a lot of tired faces out there from both sides as these points seem to drag on a little bit longer than expected, especially in this kind of wind.
Can't be stressed the opportunity that Scotland have here. You know, these games are shorter. You cannot let your opponents get 2-3 points up, especially when time starts to run out. Scotland running out of options again, but finds an excellent inside shot.
Henry hucks it big to Kelly. Scotland players dribbling through now. Kelly looks like he wants to get it off. Short dish to Boxall. Looks for Kelly on the return. Doesn't get it. That's Henry with the score.
And that is massive from Scotland, levelling up the game. And Scotland seem to be a little bit more patient now. They had a chance just before the England team turned it over to punch it in the red zone. They weren't able to do that. They got that another turnover, and then they worked it up the field beautifully. Great huck from Henry to get it to Kelly. Kelly taking his time to reel it in, taking his time not to take the first option he saw, but really patient offense from Scotland, and we've leveled the game up. It's 4-4. Game on.
Especially in this type of tournament where, you know, you're representing your country. I think they're so momentum driven. You know, there's a lot of passions that are coming through, and those passions turn into points. And I think Now maybe, dare I say, Scotland have a little bit of the momentum. I can see quite a lot of the England heads kind of going down, a couple of slumped shoulders, and as you said, we may have a little bit of a game on our hands.
Yep, England looking like the team that's not quite in there. A couple of just basic execution errors, as you can see there. Disc getting thrown low when they're going upwind, and taking big shots that normally might come off, and just Scotland managing to capitalise on it.
I think a lot of these just seem to come down to a concentration. I mean, there's another prime example there. It's just dribbled through to the back and
not fielded the pull correctly.
It's Mickael.
Loving this matchup of Joel Terry on Conor Mickael, as it seems like a foul and injury was called there by Hardman Carter.
The shoes off and all. Replaced by Bates.
Just an injury call, no foul, I believe.
That's Quinn on the disc. Takes the around. Mickael there, probably looking for his
holstered the scuba. You know, if Mickael wants to get people watching these, he would throw that.
And it's just a stone cold drop there. That's such a shame for England. And now Scotland may have a chance to capitalise on this.
Terry picking up the disc quickly and launching it deep. Tate there, and it's a score from Scotland. 5-4 up. Who else but Ian Tate? Bit sceptical there of Terry picking up the disc very quickly, but when you've got a receiver like Ian Tate streaking towards the end zone, you cannot let that opportunity pass you by, and Scotland have gone up this game 5-4.
And this is what I'm talking about, the momentum shift. You can see all the smiles on all of the Scottish players' faces there. They want to play, they want to get involved, and I mean, you may not be see this on this, but we can see a lot of talking between a lot of the England players. They're thinking tactically, they may be in a lot of their own heads, and I mean, it's Scotland's game to lose right now.
Yeah, very proud for Scotland for getting back into this game, as we saw a huge bit on the mark there from Mickael, but just not quite there, and Ian Tate had all the time in the world to score that.
So it was very easy to travel on the situation, so where credit's due for Ian for catching it actually in midair, not leaving a foot on the floor as England start their offense again. It's Hall to Lewis. Takes off Sloan, takes the around. It's Gibson, takes the inside again. Sloan looking for the IO again, doesn't get it. Gets it this time. It's Naden.
And with a huge chance here.
Very expansive throw there. And just popped in very quickly for the score.
What a point to settle the nerves there for England. You know, we thought Scotland were getting back into this game. We saw the momentum of a couple of breaks that they've had. But England with an extremely patient, tactical, wonderful point going to the end zone there on the left-hand side. And, you know, we're very much back in it.
Yeah, this is a fantastic look. Just really opening on the plays. You can see two Scottish players being dragged open, and then Naden just happy to take a 2-yard pass in there, and a very easy score for England.
And it's the brave option as well to try spread the field, to try throw those expansive shots across the field to open it up. Because if you're unable to do that, we've seen it all too many times this game, where if you don't throw that shot, if you don't have a chance to throw it wide, then England or Scotland or whatever team you're playing against will just poach onto one side of the end zone. You'll find it extremely difficult to score.
Absolutely. Mickael starting with the pull. Pressure onto Scotland now as they centre the disc to Lim.
Looks like Scotland coming out in a flood there with Hardman Carter.
Very unlucky there. Just again, it's a hard weight you've got to put on the disc, where Hardman Carter there only being able to put out a hand more than anything else. The huck goes up for England, and pretty massive layout.
That couldn't have been Lewis again, was it? No, Mickael.
Thompson could dish it in for a quick score there.
That's a break for England.
That's Quinn several times there, just getting a small dish on the inside, at the front of the end zone. Known for time playing indoors for GB and Mighty Hucks.
And just as we thought Scotland were getting back into the game, England have showed that winning mentality that a lot of these players who played on the GB teams, who played on your Claphams and your Icenies and all those top level teams, that they have that mentality, that they know when the going gets tough, they can ramp it up one other gear. And this is the game that everyone wants to win. And you can see that England have just taken that little second to become a little bit more concentrated. They're smiling now, they're happy as Maiden lines up for the pool. That's an excellent upwind pull. Coming in at lightning speed there to Mackie.
Foxhole takes the arrow to Kelly. Takes Bates on the under. Dashes down the line, doesn't go for it. Still striking forward, looks it off. Goes to Mackie on the around. Wobbly disc there. He looks to huck it. Takes the IO shot. They're just bottling up in the air and not coming down with it. Takes the IO shot all the way across the pitch. Wow. The weight on that disc was fantastic.
And a sort of grimaced face there from Kelly as he managed to just tool that one in. A couple seconds more, a little bit higher, and he wouldn't have been able to. But to be honest, I back Kelly for any shot in the end zone. If that was going a little bit further, I wouldn't be surprised if he was jumping 3 feet out the end zone to throw that back in.
I can see the little expression on his face there, thinking, "Oh, I was looking forward to the greatest," or the mad towing of the line. Known for his wild plays there, but maybe to his surprise, just has to catch it with one hand without any jumping.
We're all tied up here again. 10 minutes to go. It is really anyone's game here. First ever matchup between Scotland and England in Ultimate Frisbee. So proud to have represented it in my home city of Glasgow. And let's hope for many more of these to come, because this has been excellent to watch so far.
You're a bit patriotic there, do I say?
I'm feeling very patriotic.
Is that you on the bagpipes earlier?
I'll happily play the bagpipes in the commentary booth if Scotland win this game.
I might just hold you to that one as Lim goes up for the pull.
And these pulls coming in at absolutely lightning speed. English players being brave, and that pops up.
Mickael almost getting some leftovers on that one, but yeah, Scotland now have a great opportunity to punch it in. Big fake there by Terry. Takes a big IO shot there. Oh, so unlucky for Scotland. The dish just dropping like a stone in the final hurdle there. The wind acting as a seventh player for England, it seems.
Scotland going against what they've done previously when they've had short field turns. They took their time to set up there, and no real options became available, and Terry had to sort of throw something and hope to the end zone, into the end zone. Interesting to see Scotland take their time as England are moving forward again, and another turnover.
In the same area as well. It's quite surprising that it seems like England aren't really learning from their mistakes. It's in the same spot there as Terry picks it up.
This is where we need to see some sort of expansive throw going wide as Terry does that, and it's popped up and kicked again.
Takes you out to Thompson, and again, just dropping like a stone. Doesn't seem very happy with that, does he?
No, Mickael looking at it being like, no, it's not my fault. It has to be someone else's. And, you know, you're right to play in the wind. But at the same time, big shot over, and it's intercepted by the 50th shirt of England. Sheffield Steel captain.
Someone want it?
Klinge. Thompson takes the IO shot, a very hard shot there. Probably one of the hardest options you could have chosen to take, actually, looking for Mickael, who's obviously done some pretty incredible acrobatic saves in the past, but wasn't able to reel that one in.
Maybe thought it was just a little bit too far out and didn't warrant the acrobatics, but we personally would love to see it up here in the commentary booth. Terry picks up the disc and Agnew bursts deep.
Terry takes the shot up, and again just sailing out to the near sideline.
It's a gritty point here, 6-6. It's been going on for about 3 minutes already. You know, a huge point this could be as there's disc popping up everywhere. Gordon with a good D there, and Terry with that inside shot, sort of hoping for something to come off there for Scotland. But if they get another short field turn like they did here, and they played a bit faster at that point, they have a better chance of getting it in, because when they take their time, it just seems like options aren't becoming available. Good defense from England to be able to cut off all the options. And a huge bid there.
Wow, fantastic bid there by Tate.
Ian Tate proving he is one of the best players on this park right now. A couple of great scores and a huge layout bid there.
Yeah, it was pretty massive. Plant Haley didn't see him in his rear view mirrors there.
Scotland really struggling to get their offense started here.
That might just pick up. Oof.
It has done. Wind picking that up. The underside of the disc just being exposed to the wind means that it's going to be a little bit more unpredictable.
It's Thompson. Crossfield to Plant Haley. Takes the long shot and just...
Again, it's set up a little bit more there, but even still, just such a hard point here. I venture to say that this could be one of the most important points of the game.
I think you'd be very right to say that. And especially knowing the rosters that are here today, these are some of the best athletes in the entirety of the country. And if they're struggling, imagine what would we be like.
Yeah. I shudder to think what we'd be like, but then we see that huge bid coming through from me and Tate. I mean, if we can see more of them, I would love this point to be on a little bit longer if we see more plays like that. England being expansive, getting it to the other sideline.
It's Thompson. Bit of a messy structure there for England as the Flying Terry goes by. Mickael maybe looking for the scuba, takes the longest shot, and Ian Tate there.
And again, they just hesitated a couple of times. That's happened from both sides, where it's looked like a fake, the receiver stopped moving, they've thrown it anyway, and it's just gone out to nobody. I wonder if Scotland are going to do what they've done before. A couple of times they've looked deep for Tate, they've looked deep for Agnew. Terry going to pick up the disc. There is that Alba connection between them, playing all together in 2022 in that Alba team that went all the way to the finals of UK Nationals.
There's just another scrappy throw there by Scotland. Dare I say neither of these teams really want it as England pick up the disc. That's the bidding Tate.
We're seeing big bids, but...
Hall to Mickael. To Link. Back to Hall. Takes it high to Mickael. Looks for the long one round, doesn't. Takes another IO shot there, just almost cutting some grass there as it pops in for the score for Thompson.
And that is massive for England. Scotland have really got to keep their heads up with not long left in this game. That point lasted 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes. And Scotland cannot afford to let their heads drop. But they just looked like they were a little bit gassed towards the end of the point there. I mean, the disc was caught by the Sheffield Steel captain at the edge of the end zone. It just looked like Scotland switched off.
Yeah, maybe about 3.5 minutes left of gameplay here. Draws are allowed. If you notice in the last game between England and Wales, it did go to 7-7. So if this goes well for Scotland, we maybe 2 draws on the bounce for England, but well, guess we'll find out.
Huge opportunity for Scotland here. I'd say this, it doesn't have to go in quickly, but England will definitely be looking to punch it in quickly if they get a turn, if Scotland turn the disc over.
As Robbie Haynes goes to the pull, it's actually a fantastic pull there, just taking it out the sideline with Hawkyard, trapping Mackie there.
Such a difficult sideline to get off here, as we see Scotland struggling to do so.
Boxall. Inside for Kelly. Could send it.
Does.
That's Henry chasing and just doesn't get there in the end. It's a little bit too far sailing out through the back.
Again, good play from Scotland there. Weren't able to get it off the sideline, but Mackie took a wonderful shot to Boxall that was reeled in. And you just hope that Scotland have got a little bit more patience, understand the gravity of this situation, and know that they can keep the disc, especially when they work it down, especially when they get those couple of passes up the field. Know that they have the quality to be able to holster it. It's that first pass, it's that second pass that can be the hardest ones when you're working out of a static offensive structure.
And just off from the camera there, a big looping shot going over the top to Robbie Haynes, but just slipping out of his grasp on the far sideline as
we see Boxall uncharacteristically turn it over there, and England look to move quickly. Oh, that's a huge point block there.
That might be a big move there by Henry. 2 minutes on the clock. Scotland look to maybe try and get something out of this game.
After losing their first game to Ireland, you say Scotland have to get something going here if they want to get a good seed going into the final.
Kelly.
Excellent nonchalant grab there from Kelly. Must have learned that playing at the foothills of Dmitriy.
And just
a little bit too nonchalant there, unfortunately, from Kelly.
Pocket pick there as England try and punch in again with a minute and a half to spare. Gibson takes it to Naden. Looks for the big loopy around. It's just bobbling up there and down, and
it's taken in. Scotland have got to get moving quickly if they want to get any sort of semblance from this game, but that was excellently worked from England there. Again, they're not afraid to take those big shots. They've been trying the whole game. Sometimes it sits, sometimes it falls down like a stone, like you said, John. But an excellent, excellent point there from England. Wow, so we see a huge hand block from Henry there. Just getting a little bit lucky there how it sat, but you ride your own luck in these games.
You see the passion there from Conor Mickael as maybe the first nail goes in the coffin.
As time starts to wind out, you fear that this is it for Scotland, but a great game nonetheless. I mentioned earlier the 150-year anniversary of the Scotland-England game. As soon as Scotland looked to go quickly.
Looks for Ian Tate.
Oh, what a grab!
Grab there by Ian Tate.
Ian Tate working quickly, Scotland moving quickly, but they've only got 30 seconds left on the clock to be able to get something from this game. But we love to see those plays. That is just an absolute hallmark of the athleticism that's in Scotland's side. As you see Terry put up almost a prayer, a Hail Mary. Tate drags his defender in there and just extends wonderfully to grab that.
Maybe making life a little bit too hard from there by drifting into the outside there, but can't take the athleticism away from it. It was a fantastic grab as the buzzer goes, and we finish up here.
And that is time. Final score, England 8, Scotland 7. A much better scoreline than the 150th, or the game that took place 150 years ago against Scotland England, which was 0-0, watched in front of 4,000 spectators. This game, 8-7, watched in front of, we'll say, almost 4,000 spectators.
I think we should round up there.
Yeah, definitely. A wonderful game. Thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to our next game, which is Ireland and Wales playing each other.
Cheers, guys.